Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. The original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome in. It's another week of the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Speech TV. And now this season also on TV on 47 ABC WNDT, in which we're proud to partner and expand the show across the Delmarva Peninsula. Also back for another year on Delmarva's strongest signal Ravens affiliate, the Rock Station, 93.5 The Beach. Coming to you from the Ravens Room at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City with Ravens Roost 44. Give yourselves a hand, folks. And of course, we welcome all Ravens fans to come on down to the infamous Ravens Room here. Take pictures, food and drink specials, and chances at winning Ravens tickets, courtesy of jctickets.net. In fact, 3 more opportunities. The next one will be the game in a couple of weeks in November against Tennessee. We will give them away the week, I believe, of November. I think that's Wednesday, November 5th. We'll give them away, but I'm sure you'll be on top of that for me over there. All right, coming up, we're going to recap the Ravens' 29-7 win over the Atlanta Falcons. We'll talk news and notes, recap the AFC North, and preview the upcoming game as we head into week number 8 this Sunday. The Ravens on the road in Cincinnati, taking on the Bengals. Kickoff at 1 o'clock at Paul Brown Stadium. Network pregame on the beach at 12:30. And, of course, our show airs at 11 o'clock in the morning. On TV, we're on Comcast Beach TV various times. Saturday night, 7:30 before the college game of the week on ABC 47, and at noon on Sunday as well. So we're all over the place. The Ravens Wrap Show brought to you by the original Green Turtle, of course, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, Bud Light, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Geico, RussellStreetReport.com, Ocean City Golf Club, jctickets.net, Holiday Inn Express, Donaway Furniture, and BuyAToyota.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Ravens Wrap at the Blue Ox. I'm Mike Bradley from 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, and locally mornings 5 to 9 on 92.7 WGND. To my left from the show middays from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Ocean 98, JJ. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back.
Yeah, good to have you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravens fans. Thanks.
Always good to get some outside perspective.
Right. Yeah. I'll be honest. It'll be fun.
Host of the Resort Golf Guide and golf shows all up and down the Mid-Atlantic, and former host of the Stallion Sports Show, Bobby Vermillion, back with us. Welcome back, Bobby.
Good to be back.
Look at that tan.
All right, let's recap going into last Sunday's game, or at the end, I should say, a 29-7 victory over the visiting Atlanta Falcons. The Ravens jumping out to a 17-0 halftime lead, and for the second game in a row, the Ravens producing 5 sacks. 2 by outside linebacker Elvis Dumerville, a couple by outside linebacker Pernell McPhee as well. We limited Atlanta to 4 of 15 on third down. The defense allowing just 254 yards. And Joe Flacco, despite 2 interceptions, 2 touchdown passes on the day, connected with Owen Daniels, who had 6 catches for 58 yards. Torrey Smith with a nice touchdown catch and throw by Flacco at the end of the game. 3 catches for 81 yards as the Ravens head into this week, hoping to go 6-2 for the 4th time under Harbaugh. And in all those years, they ended up going to the playoffs. But even at 5-2, they ended up going to the playoffs in most of those years. And Bobby, let's start out again. You know, as excited as I am about the offense this year and getting it back together, I'm more excited. I'm an offensive guy in football. I'm more excited about the defense and what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. 5 sacks against Atlanta and 5 sacks the week before against Tampa Bay.
Well, I think you just said it right there. Atlanta and Tampa Bay, 2 teams that are just not that great of football teams right now. But it is the NFL. We talk about it every week, Mike. As Ravens fans, we should be excited at 5-2. It's a great start. We all play the game in the beginning of the season. We go ahead and look at the schedule. And I think if you talk to most fans, and you said you'd be 5-2 at this point with a new offensive coordinator, with the loss of Ray Rice, the injuries to the offensive line, that's a big factor. And it's interesting, before the season started, we talked about Ricky Wagner and what role he would play this year. Was he going to be a good right tackle? Here's a guy that's really stepped up. We haven't really talked about him much this year, which is a good thing for a right tackle. And now you've got an undrafted rookie at left tackle and a 5th-round draft choice at left guard who played pretty well, although Hurst did get peated quite a few times on Sunday. But they held up. The Ravens are 5-2 right now, and it's a good start to this season.
Well, I think it's an excellent point in that here we go, 2 straight weeks. We've had a rookie left tackle and left guard and a second-year right tackle. We've been able to get away with it. You're right, though, Massaquoi dominated James Hurst, but nonetheless, we won the football game. And again, taking advantage of teams that aren't very good. We didn't let them hang around, especially in Tampa Bay, that road game, but even at home against Atlanta. we eventually took care of business. We had a little bit of a window where we allowed them, but ultimately, again, getting the W.
Getting the W and the key at Tampa Bay. We're on the road. You win there. You come back. You're at home against Atlanta, a team that you should beat. And again, the key is it's going to be tough in the teams in your division. That's always a battle when you're playing Cleveland, when you're playing the Bengals, obviously, and the Steelers. You look at those games, anything can happen in a divisional game. So the teams that you should beat, you've got to beat, and the Ravens have done that so far.
I was going to say, JJ, though, as you know, that's a lot easier said than done. They don't play it on paper. We can talk about it, but that's why they play the game.
Absolutely. And as a non-Ravens fan, just looking at it.
I can't tell.
How do I know that?
Can you?
But for all those years.
What team? What's your team?
Yeah,
Okay, Redskins. Yeah.
What's your record? 5-2.
5-2.
Flip that. The 2-5 Redskins. But the thing with not being a Ravens fan, just like a fan of football. Of course, you have Suggs, you had Ray Lewis, you had Ladarius Webb, you had Ed Reed. You're known for your defense. What, Joe Flacco, 5 touchdowns in 16 minutes or something last week, and then he puts all the touchdowns up this week. As a just a fan, that was the one knack that I could always go back. And I have Flacco, who's kind of like a Dilfer from time to time. Just manages the game, just gets the win, lets the defense do it all. You have an offensive powerhouse with Joe Flacco as your quarterback. It's now fun for me to watch the Ravens on offense, and that's the first time I've said that in a long time.
Yeah, well, I think for a lot of fans, you're
And
right
that hurts
about
to say.
Well, I mean, you go back, Bobby and JJ, you go back to the Super Bowl run the Ravens made in the playoffs. Now, that was some exciting offense, but that season, that regular season, the offense was up and down that year. And, of course, Cam Cameron ended up getting fired towards late in the year, and then Jim Caldwell took over. But as JJ talked about that, we haven't seen that, heck, really consistently, Bobby, going back to the March of Broda days of 96, 97.
Well, you haven't. And one of the reasons, and we talked about this last week, is the weapons around Joe Flacco. And then last year was a prime example. We couldn't run the football. The offensive line was suspect. And as being a Redskin fan, you can see the effects of that right now. I mean, obviously there's a big question mark at the quarterback position, but you're having a hard time protecting your quarterback, whoever it is, and then your running game's not as stout as it was, particularly a couple of years ago when RG3 was a rookie and when he was successful. So, and you look at this right now, you take a look at the NFL and look how average Matt Ryan was this weekend. Again, wasn't protected, running game not too much, average quarterback.
Sounds like last year.
Sounds like last year.
Sounds like Tom Brady early in the year.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's what happens. So you have to, I don't care who the quarterback is, you have to protect them. And, the great ones can make a difference when things aren't going real well, and there's only a few of those out there. But guys that can win championships like Joe Flacco, like Eli Manning, they need a little bit of help, in my opinion. And unless you protect them and run the football, you struggle.
Well, JJ, you go back to the Redskins a couple of years ago with RG3's rookie year. They were able to make some plays down the field in the passing game. Why? Because they had that dual-headed running attack, and the Ravens certainly have that with not one, not two, but three backs.
Well, absolutely. And with just like Bobby said, without the offensive line, the big thing is with RG3, when he was healthy, he could run around, stretch the plays, and just keep it going. Well, now with our team, we have Colt McCoy. Oh, God. We have Colt McCoy now as our starting quarterback going into the Dallas week. And, you just look at it. It was like a fad, if you will, all these running quarterbacks. What is Flacco? Stays in the pocket, waits, goes down, looks at all his reads, 3-4 options, and then makes a decision and throws the ball. RG3, once the first option was over, he ran. And the last time I checked, a young man by the name of Haloti Ngata was the one who destroyed that right knee for the first time. Why? Because he didn't slide correctly. He tried to stretch the play. And I just wish we had a pocket passer like a Flacco. That's just the thing. But then again, also, regular fans, name one offensive lineman besides Trent Williams on the Redskins. You can't. Just like Bobby said, we don't have a solid offensive line like you guys are showing up to have with Flacco.
Well, in the Redskins' case, you hoped for their fan base and for that organization that they can come back and RG3 can play out of the pocket. That's going to be a big debate. We're going to see what happens. They need to protect him. But again, a good point for RG3 is one of the reasons he was drafted as high as he was because he had that athletic ability. He's not a pocket passer. But you made a great point. I tell you what, when he came into the league, they wanted these quarterbacks to run. They did with the pistol, the read option, all those things. Now they're finding out maybe that's not the best option for the quarterback because defenses were taught just hit the quarterback. If Cam Newton's going to do a read option, hit him every time. Hit RG3 every time.
And he's injured all the time, too, and he's twice as big as RG3.
So you see one guy that's been pretty good at the read option and protecting himself has been Russell Wilson. Now, he's built kind of like a halfback, but he's a guy that also slides and gets down and doesn't take a big hit. I heard Rich Gannon kind of talk about him on the radio today, and he alluded to him and mentioned him in the same breath as a Marcus Allen. Although Marcus Allen obviously was a running back, but Marcus Allen was one of those guys you could never seem to get a good hit on. And Russell Wilson seems to be that guy at the quarterback position. Gets out of bounds, slides, and never takes the big hit, and he's been able to stay healthy.
It's still about these quarterbacks with the big contracts. It's about the mental game, but it's about that throwing arm, not about the legs necessarily. You know, if you could extend plays with your legs like a Roethlisberger does, that's great, but ultimately you're paid to throw the football. And yeah, it's still, JJ, absolutely right about pocket passing. And look, Bobby, you get back to it. We talked about this last several weeks. Joe Flacco has the most weapons that he's had in his entire career here, and he's got maybe one of the best offensive lines that he's had going back probably to 08 when he, as a rookie, was a really good line that year. But there's no shock here that's why he's doing so well now. Again, people haven't realized that he didn't always have the best of weapons the last couple of years. And that's why he wasn't putting up Tom Brady numbers necessarily.
You take a look when he had Anquan Bolden, what he did there in the stretch run to the Super Bowl. Exactly. And now with Steve Smith Sr., the difference that he's made to that team. And everybody's talked about it. It's no secret, not just as a player, but as an attitude that he brings to that offense, which I think he needed. And, you know, everybody talks about the fact that Joe Flacco's not a verbal leader. Well, you certainly have that in Steve Smith Sr.
Right, no question.
That's the biggest thing, like, again, just from a fan, watching him. He's been mic'd up almost every game. If you go to certain websites like Deadspin.com and all these sites, they follow him for the entire game. You got, you know, Ball So Hard, you got Terrell Suggs on the defense as your leader. Steve Smith is a trash talker, but he backs it up, and that's the one thing your team needs.
You can respect that when he can back
exactly,
it up.
Like on our team, Deshaun Jackson. He talks smack all the time, pushes, and then runs away. It's disgusting what he does. He has no respect. Steve Smith will push you and stare you right in the face and doesn't care.
Well, he took
and that
a
gets
corner
respect
down
from the other team. I mean, I love that about him, even though he is a Raven. I respect him on the field for that.
Well, he took a corner of safety down, Bobby, in the game after a play. And yeah, you love his passion. As long as it doesn't hurt the team too much, you love the fire, you love the passion at age 35. That's a man with a huge chip on his shoulder, and it has paid major dividends for the Ravens. Kudos to the front office. We'll talk more about that. As great as the offense has been, we'll get to the defense as well. Lots more to come. It is the Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Beach TV. ABC 47 at 93.5 The Beach. We're back next. Keep it here.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Like 33rd Street was to Colt fans, Russell Street will become legendary for future generations of Raven fans. Not only is Russell Street the team's address on Sunday, it's now home to the website voted Baltimore's best 5 years in a row. You've known them as Ravens247.com for years, and now you'll love them as RussellStreetReport.com for many more. There's nothing else like it for Baltimore football fans. Trust me, RussellStreetReport.com. Baltimore's home for football 24/7.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.